profound individual, a leading voice in the church movement. So much so that I'm going to say that his writings, his phrases are more like prophecy, so profound that they are. So I'm just going to refresh, if you don't already know, the question that he asked that has rung throughout the ages, the question of St. Joseph, which we really need to learn more from and ask each other a lot more, which is this.
Hey, how you doing?
I want everybody to just turn to the person next to you and just ask, how you doing? Come on, don't let distance be right, okay? How you doing? Because I think this is a question that we should ask each other more. But just before we get into it, here's the thing. You see, the meaning matters. Because when most British people ask this, in case you're not from England, most people, when they're British, when they ask the question, how you doing? All we're really saying is, hello. We're not really asking. Like, we don't really want to know. Like, the majority of British people, if ever they ask you the question, how you doing? They'd be really surprised if you were all like, well, I mean, my arthritis is acting up and my house has been on the market for 6 months and I'm really struggling with this thing that I wasn't going to mention, but, and you're going to be stood there like, yeah. Like, dude, I was just saying hi. Like, I don't care. And isn't that a shame? Isn't that really a shame that we ask each other this question all the time? How are you doing? But in truth, we don't really want you to answer a lot. And we're so used to that when someone asks you the question, you're not even honest. Because how often, when someone asks you how you doing, you're just going to go, fine. You haven't even thought about it, but that's just your auto response, right? Fine. I've been worse. Could be better. What a load of nonsense, right? I think we can all agree that we could do better at asking this question. Would you agree? Yeah. What do you think? So, okay, I'm going to ask you, to turn to each other and ask the question, not like Joey does, because you just did it in the Joey fashion there, which is basically to say, I want to hook up with you later. And don't worry, that's my wife, I'm allowed to, okay? Right? So now you just asked each other that question, and if that, I don't know how pretty the person is sitting next to you, but just keep it on the down low till after I'm done talking, okay? Then you can go and have at it. But anyway, but I want you to do me a favor, okay? Ask the question again. I want you to just ask, how you doing? But this time, mean it. Go on, turn to the person next to you and just ask, how you doing? With the expectation that they're going to answer. Now then, back in the room, thank you. Right, so I can see a bunch of conversation started there, and that's wonderful. So I'm going to ask you to put that conversation on hold. Okay, whoever you asked and whoever asked you, I want you to get a coffee and go and sit in the back and finish that conversation. An honest, real conversation where you're going to open up about how you're really doing. And if you ask someone that question, care enough about the answer to listen. What do you think? Wouldn't life be better if we just took this question more seriously? What do you think? I think we can all agree that if we ask this question to each other more, just to check up on each other, just to make sure no one's being left behind, just to make sure no one's being frozen out in the cold, and people who are struggling have got someone to struggle with them. It would be better if we asked this question for all sorts of reasons, but none more so than to support each other to be like Jesus. Because that's the one, right? And I don't know if you believe what I believe, but even if you don't believe what I believe about Jesus, you would still prefer people to be more like him, right? No matter, right, now if you got people who don't believe what you believe, here's a route for you, okay? No matter what anybody believes, we all want people to be more like Jesus. Even if you believe he's a fictional character, you want people to be more like that fictional character, right? You want everybody else to be, you want me to be, you want you to be more like Jesus, right? No matter what you believe, this is an equalizer. We all could do with being more like Jesus, and we all want each other to be more like Jesus. So how you doing? How you doing at that? How you doing at being more like Jesus? Is it like, fine? I've been worse. I could be better. Yeah, but I mean, just I don't know, just imagine what that would actually be like. if we were all, everybody, we were really way like Jesus, like really like Jesus. Imagine if we were all, selfless and giving and forgiving with no bitterness, no hate, 100% loving all the time, perfectly wise, perfectly filled with God's Spirit, perfectly in tune with God the Father, always with the right answer to any question, any problem, any difficulty, any situation, any time. Wouldn't that be great? How you doing? No pressure. Ooh, right? Now we're turning the temperature up, right? Because that's the goal. That's what we're supposed to be like. So the idea of be like Jesus, no matter, everybody in the world looks at the church and says, I wish you were more like Jesus, right? If you were more like the guy you preach about, everything would be great, right? Because everybody knows we want to be, but we're not doing all that well all the time, right? That's a lot to live up to, right? In fact, when you look at that, it's kind of terrifying. Like right? How am I supposed to be like that? Oh, yikes. Well, fortunately, Jesus told you. He told us exactly how to be like that. He gave us a blueprint. Right, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get theological now. Are you ready? Okay, so everybody, get out your Bible. Come on. Have you got your Bible with you? Have you? Come on. Phones don't count, you heathens. No, I'm joking. That's fine. Right. Does anybody in the room, apart from the teacher at the front, have an actual paper Bible? Come on. Anybody? Yeah, okay. We got a few. This is good. Right, okay. So the people with the phone have an advantage because I've got a lot of scriptures to get to there. Right. Right, okay. So no, don't look at them yet. No. Don't read ahead. That's just cheating. Spoilers, people. Right, so I'm going to give you the blueprint that Jesus dropped on us of how to be like him. Are you ready? Yeah. Here we go. Right, 3 people are ready. The rest of you wake up. Come on, let's go. Here we go. Right, okay. So in Matthew 8:22, Jesus said, follow me. Okay? Now, in Matthew 9, verse 9, Jesus said, follow me. Right? In Matthew 10, verse 38, Jesus said, follow me. Now, what I'm going to do to save time, because this is deep theology here, I'm just going to lay them all out there, okay? And then we're going to do a real kind of deep dive, okay? So this is what he said in all these verses. Now, for the biblically astute amongst you, you may see a pattern emerging there. I don't know, right? It's almost as if, could it possibly be that his entire mission, his whole purpose throughout his ministry was to just get people to do those 2 words. Again and again and again, he said these words. He said lots of other things, but he said this a lot. It's like we should be paying attention. What do you think? So, here's a question. How you doing? How you doing at following Jesus? Well, here's the next. I mean, how, right? How am I supposed to do that? Because I've just seen all the things. In fact, that was only a fraction of things that Jesus was. And it's like, how am I supposed to follow that? I mean, come on. What does it look like in the real world? What does that look like in my life? How am I supposed to succeed at that? Well, this whole series that we're going into right now is all about how to do that. So this is going to be 5 weeks, and we're just going to go ankle deep this week, okay? We're going to splish splash a little bit. That's all we're going to do. Don't worry. By the end of it, we're going to be waist deep. Oh yeah, you're going to need your waders on because it's going to get deep. It's going to get really good, okay? But today we're just going to go into the ankles just a little bit. Is that okay, guys? Yeah. Okay. See, more people are waking up. This is good. I like it. Is it because I shout a lot? I'm just waking you all up, right? I'll get back on the drums if you want. That'll make some noise. Right, okay. I've never preached while playing the drums before, but there's a first time for everything, isn't there? Not now, but one day. Anyway, right, I'm going to give you lesson number 1. I would like a volunteer. Right, okay? So, can I have a volunteer in the room before I volunteer someone? Okay, come on, Warren. I think you just got volunteered by your wife, but yeah, I heard that. Right, Warren, stand there if you please, okay? Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay, ready. Here we go, right? Follow me. Well, go on then, follow me. I don't know what's happening here. Follow me. Warren, follow me. Oh, wait, hang on. Sorry. Follow me. There we go. This is more like it. Now he's following me. Look at this. This is right. I'm going to go up on the stage. I'm going to go up on the backstage. Here we go. Going to go down the steps here. Let's see how limber he is. What do you reckon? Yeah. Okay. My mic fell off, but okay. Right. These are not made for dancing, just so we know. Right. Okay. I think we're there. What do you reckon? Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Stuck in a loop. Off you go. Right, okay. Go on, give him a round of applause. I have no idea what I've done to myself, but I'll survive. Right, okay. Right, okay. Here's the thing, folks. You can't follow someone who's standing still. Have you ever used SatNav? Have you ever punched in the address and then it gives you all like a million different routes just to show off how fabulous it is? And you pick the one that is 30 seconds shorter than the other one, right? Okay. And then you sit there on the driveway and it tells you where to go. Then it doesn't tell you anything else. It doesn't give you your next direction. Why are you not telling me anything else? It's because you're still sitting on your driveway. It's not going to tell you your next direction until you follow the last one. What's the point? Ladies and gentlemen, if you've stopped hearing from God, go back to the last thing he told you to do and do that. Maybe he's waiting for you to catch up. What do you think? Yay, there we go. All right, so, because here's the thing. You cannot follow something that's standing still. It is physically impossible. Can we get some agreement on that? So the phrase, follow me, implies that he's moving. Would you agree with that? Well, how about this? He is today. I believe Jesus is moving today. I'm going to say it again. I believe that Jesus is still moving today. The guy that walked the earth 2,000 years ago is moving today. The guy they put on a cross is moving today. The guy that ascended into the heavens is still moving in this world today. If you believe that, give him a cheer. There you go. Right. Yes. Follow me implies that he's moving. He is today. Are you? Ooh, suddenly it's getting heavy. Yeah. Because here's the thing, folks. You're only following if you're moving. You're only following if you're moving. You can't follow someone who's standing still, but if they start moving and you don't, you've stopped following. How you doing? How you doing? And this is not a guilt trip. It really isn't. But you know what? We're called as believers to keep an eye on each other and to ask each other how you're doing and to make sure that we're staying accountable to one another and to encourage each other and to lift each other up and help each other through burdens and obstacles. So how you doing? Really? Turn to the person next to you and ask, how you doing? How you doing at following? How you doing at being in motion? Maybe things have gotten in the way. Maybe things have distracted you. Maybe you've kind of, the fire's gone a little bit and you need to stoke those embers somewhat. And you hadn't even noticed, because that happens, doesn't it? It happens that you just, I'm losing the fire a little bit and I hadn't even realized, but I suddenly realized right now, I'm not the way I used to be. I'm not as on fire as I used to be. I'm not active as I used to be. It's worth asking all the time, just, how you doing? I don't know where you were at before today. Maybe, COVID got a lot of us, the lockdown, and suddenly either you lose your job or you can't do your job and you're chomping at the bit to get on with it. Or maybe it was brilliant and you hated going back to work because you had to because they're not paying you to stay home anymore. Right? Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And then you got to build back up to it. And just as you build, good grief, Brexit, really? Really, this is happening? And then the cost of living crisis and all this kind of stuff. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? Things happen, right? Oh, dearie me, it can be hard. So I don't know where you're at. I don't know what's happened to you in your life, but if I was to say, now's the time to put all of it aside and just decide, I'm going to just prioritize following him again. I'm just going to put it back to the front of the queue. I'm going to get rid of the distractions, rid of the obstacles. They're still there and I'll deal with them, but you know what? I'm just going to focus on just following. not on being perfection, not on being the end journey of what Jesus was. I'm just going to get back to putting one foot in front of the other, and I'm just going to start moving because he's moving, and I don't want to lose track of him. Amen? If that's the case, then I'm inviting you to join him on the journey. And that's important because Jesus started his relationship with people by just saying, follow me. And then he was on, and they were going with him, and he would teach them, and he would mold them, and he would shape them, and he would rebuke them on the journey. And it can be so easy to get into this idea that, well, I believe in Jesus, and I go to church, and I do the things. Why have I stopped hearing? Why have I stopped getting the blessings? Why am I not in the relationship that I used to be? The relationship is in motion. It's all about being in movement. He wants you to keep growing. He wants to keep blessing you. He wants to keep leading you into things you've never done, never been, things you couldn't even think you could be. He knows you can, but you're not ready yet. So just keep walking, and he'll mold you as you go. This is what he did with literally all of his disciples. He lived on the road. He lived on the journey. So get moving. Get up and get on the journey. Because, folks, you're only following if you're moving. So, ready to move? What do you reckon? You ready to move? Or do you want to stay still? Because, I got a few, cheering people in the room, and that's great. I love it. It's the usual crowd. Same people cheering every week. Next week, folks, I want different people cheering. I want to hear new voices. Anyway, I digress. Here's the thing. Lots of people came to hear Jesus preach. I mean a lot. Thousands. Thousands came to hear him talk and eat a fish sandwich and all that kind of stuff. They loved that. They loved to get healed. There was thousands of miracles all the time, thousands and thousands, but there weren't thousands at the cross. There were plenty of people willing to hear him speak, willing to, get involved in praising and worshiping God. I'm sure plenty of that went on, just watching the miracles or having miracles performed on him. There were plenty who were willing to attend and get involved in watching and listening and doing all that stuff, but they didn't follow him. Because even in the upper room, there weren't thousands. So, is that enough for you? Is that okay for you? Is it just, coming every week and sitting for a few hours and singing, which is all good. This is great stuff. If that's okay for you, then that's a choice for you to make. But I'm encouraging you to choose to do more. Don't just attend, follow. But you're only following. You're only following if you're moving. So, I'm going to actually wrap this up in a minute, because this is a short one. This is kind of a hit and run. Like I say, ankle deep this week. But this is going to get a lot deeper. But it's pointless. The rest of it is pointless unless you decide to move. So if that's you, if you're up for it, going with him on the journey. Don't worry about where it ends up. That's on him. But starting to move is on only you. I can't decide for you. He could, but he won't decide for you. Power's yours. So if you're up for getting back on that journey and relighting that fire and thinking, I want to be more like him tomorrow than I am today. If that's you, you're thinking, yeah, I want to get into motion. On the count of 3, I want you all to say move. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Move. Hey, there you go, because that's step 1. Step 1 is just decide to move. It's that simple. However, on the count of 3, say together. 1, 2, 3. Together. Yeah, because you got to move together. Step 1, decide to move. However, of equal importance is the decision to move together. And this is huge. Jesus made the spiritual well-being of others his business. His entire ministry, his entire mission was to get others on the journey and then walk with them and have relationship with them and then work in them as he went. So follow. Follow what Jesus did. Right at the very beginning, go to people and say, come with me. Go to others and say, be on the journey with me. Because you can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. Jesus said, I will build my... No. He said, I will build my... Oh, come on, Mikey. Come on. There you go. The pastor has to talk at some point during the sermon. It's the rule, okay? Ask a theological question, and he's going to say it. Okay, yeah. He said, I will build my ecclesia, or ecclesia, or however you want to pronounce it. It was a Greek term. It meant a gathering of people. And then one would address them, and he would be the ecclesiast. And the things that he would say would be the Ecclesiastes. Oh, look at that. It's a Bible book. Ooh. Right, okay. It means a community. It means a gathering. And FYI, the original English Bibles actually translated it properly. And then the guy who translated it, William Tyndale, was burnt at a stake, and they changed it back to a German word meaning house of the Lord. Oh, yeah, there you go. But no, Jesus said, I will build my community. He came to build a community. And here's the thing. When Jesus said, I will build my church, as we use, he only left behind a group of people. I'll say it again. He only left behind a group of people. One more time, he didn't leave behind a building. He didn't leave behind robes and paraphernalia and all the rest of it. The only thing he left was a group of people, which means either Jesus failed at his mission or the church is only a group of people. Not that plus other stuff, that as part of other stuff. The rest of it is irrelevant. Anything that we think that's a necessary part of church, we're saying Jesus failed by not including it. But the only thing he included was a bunch of people. The church is a society. The church is an us. You cannot do it as a you. I'm going to go a little bit further with this. Is that okay? Right. I'm going to say that you're only following if you're moving, and you can't follow alone. If you're doing it on your own, you're doing it wrong. Now, let me push into that a little bit, because Jesus made this really clear. He said, the kingdom of heaven is like. Just get the terminology on that. Not the kingdom of heaven likes this. The kingdom of heaven enjoys this. This is the preference of the kingdom of heaven. This happens in the kingdom of heaven. No. This is what the kingdom of heaven is. This is how I would describe it to you. This is the character of the kingdom of heaven. And when he says kingdom of heaven, he says his kingdom. That's literally what it means. Kingdom of heaven is those who call him king. If that's you, you are in the kingdom of heaven. Not you're going there when you die, you're there. The kingdom of heaven is like. This is the character. So what he's about to tell you next is huge. Are you ready? Yeah. He gave us what's called the trilogy of the lost. This is 3 parables, possibly his most famous 3. Certainly 2 of them are, right? And I'm guessing that everybody knows the word lost in a parable, at least one, right? Okay, so this is the parable of the lost. Oh, look at this. Oh, wonderful. Who can name them all? Hey, there you go. Right, so we got the lost coin, the lost sheep, and the lost son, right? Let's just dive into this a tiny little bit, okay? I'll go slow so that Amy can make notes, because I can see you scribbling furiously there. I like it when people take notes. This is what you should all be like, people. Shame on you. I'm joking. Right, okay. Right, so talks about the lost coin, and sometimes you can say, well, these days we might see the credit card instead, because who cares if you lose a 2p? But I guarantee if you lost your debit card, you would turn the house upside down looking for it, right? Doesn't matter that you got other cards. That one matters, right? So you would turn the whole house upside down looking for that one because it has its own value. Even if you have others, that one has its own value. You're not giving up on it, right? And then he talks about the lost son, or the prodigal son, right? Who sinned against his father. And that's different. The coin didn't sin against the owner, and the sheep didn't sin against the son, against the owner, the shepherd. But the son sinned against the father, and yet still, it wasn't irredeemable. And then the lost sheep, wow, that's going out into the dark at night where there's lions and tigers and bears. You guys need to brush up on your movies, really do. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, that's more like it, people. Too right. Okay, right. So there's danger involved in going and finding the one sheep. So there's different angles on this, but I love this. These are 3 parables about I will leave no one behind. I will do anything to get the one back. And I love how meta this is, because he's giving this talk to people to describe what the kingdom of heaven is like, and he's using completely non-theological language. You don't need to know the scriptures to understand any of these. You don't need to know your ancient Greek or your Hebrew, even though his audience all spoke either Greek or Hebrew on a bit of both. Never mind, right? But you didn't need to know what the Pharisees knew or the teachers of the law or anything like that. All you needed to know was what it's like to have a naughty son, what it's like to be a shepherd, and what it's like to lose money, which was his entire audience. He made sure when he was describing this that he left no one behind. The genius of this guy, right? Absolutely fantastic. The only time I think he mentions God and sin in the whole 3 is once, when the prodigal son says, I have sinned against you and against God. That's it. It's the only mention. So he's perfectly described what heaven is like to people who have never heard a single scripture ever. There's a lesson there for preachers somehow. There really is. But he made sure we understood the very character of heaven is described as being, we are the ones who leave no one out, leave no one behind. So take a look around, because we're the 99. Have a look around, okay? Have a look around. This is the 99. Who's the one? Because they're not here. Who's missing? Who's missing? Do you know the names of people who are missing? Can you think of the faces of people who are missing? Maybe you're thinking, that person who's missing, yeah, they're a bit of a lost coin. They always disappear. They're hardly ever here. They just kind of show up like a bad penny every now and then. Yeah, but you know what? They're lost. Maybe we should reach out. Maybe they're like the lost sheep. And it's like, yeah, but I've got to go out there into the world to find them. I've got to go into the stinky, nasty places where they're going to be. Yeah, but they're lost. They're in need. We're safer in the 99. Or maybe they're like the prodigal son. And you're thinking, I don't want to reach out to them. They've sinned against the Father and against me. They're lost. They're the one. Jesus didn't give us an option here. He didn't say maybe. He didn't say if you feel like it. This is the 99. They're the one. So just have a think. See if you can picture some faces. See if you can think of some names. Who have we not seen here in a while? Or who have you been thinking they could really do with knowing Jesus? They could really do with knowing what I know. They could do with experiencing the blessings that I experience. They could do with understanding who they are in Jesus the way I do. That gets me through everything. They're the one. They're lost. So follow. Do what he did. Do what he said. Be in the kingdom. If you call him king, you're in the kingdom, and the kingdom of heaven is like that. So let's start here. Are you ready? I'm going to lay it all out for you. It's going to hit like a hammer, this. Ready? If we leave people behind, we aren't following Jesus. Ooh, when you put it that bluntly, it really hits home, doesn't it? But that's the fact. Now, you can't force people to come with you. If you say, come to church, and they say no, you can't knock them out and put them over your shoulder and bring them in. You know what I mean? But you can go and find them, and you can go and tell them, I love you, and Jesus loves you, and I'd love to bring you home. That'd be easy, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be difficult. So I'm just going to ask you, okay, we can't perform miracles. That's God's job, okay? So we can't go out there and say, you shall come to church. We can't do that, okay? But do you know what we can do, right? We can think right now, who do I need to reach out to? In fact, you could close your eyes right now, and I'm going to recommend you do. Might get off your phone. We're going to close our eyes right now. No, just close your eyes. I'll give you my PowerPoint, right? Okay. Just close your eyes for a second and just ask God, show me the one. Phil, be 5 minutes. Show me the one. Who should I reach out to? Who is on your heart for me to go and find? Show me that sheep. Show me that son who's lost in a sinful lifestyle that's killing him, and sooner or later he's going to realize it. Help me to reach him before he gets to that point. Help me to reach that woman she's just disappeared, and I can't find her. Help me to find her. Now what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to bring this little bit to a close here, but you can open your eyes now. Can I ask you to keep doing this? Can I ask you to just covenant with me? You're going to keep doing this. You're going to keep asking, God, show me the one. Show me the sheep. Show me the lost sheep. Show me that coin. I'm not the only one, surely, when I've lost something and I'm looking, I pray and I say, God, help me find it. Right? Okay, well, let's do that for people. What do you reckon? Yeah. All we got to do, you've got to ask God, show me who that sheep is. Show me who to find. Show me how to find them. Give me the words to reach out to them. You can't force their response, but you can pray for them beforehand. All we got to do is pray for them and then call them up and ask them one question. How you doing? And listen. No judgment. You don't need to fix the problems they're going through. Just listen. So what do you reckon? I'm going to invite you to invite them, to bring them, to just ask how you doing, and then say, why don't you come with me to Urban this Sunday, and I'll sit with you, and we'll just talk about it afterwards, and if you liked it, we'll talk about it. If you hated it, we'll talk about it, and we can go and slap John or whatever. I don't care. Right? No, my wife would care. Don't slap me, because you've got to deal with her, and you don't want to do that. Just invite them to join you, to join us as we dig deeper into those indispensable, essential, fantastic actions of following Jesus. The things that if you're not doing them, you're not moving forward. You've been stopped. No matter how you think your relationship is going, if you're not doing these things, you've taken your eye off, you've gone off track or whatever, the blessings are drying up, you've stopped hearing from him. Let's just talk about those things that we can do that can keep us following him, keep us on track, keep us moving along. Because you're only following if you're moving, and you can't follow alone. So let's pray for others to reach out to bring on that journey, so that together we can all get in motion and we can all get moving and we can all become more like Jesus than we were, which is what everybody wants everybody to be.